Alert now. Fox News alert now on the congressional subpoenas on Obamacare and the investigation into this disastrous rollout of healthcare.gov. Congressman Darrell Issa is chairman of the House Oversight Committee. He's my guest now on the Hill. And sir, welcome back here to America's Newsroom.
Thanks for having me back, Bill, and thanks for covering the continued need to get to the bottom of what's wrong with Obamacare.
We're trying to figure out, how this whole thing happened. And I assume that's the purpose for the subpoena.
Oh, absolutely.
What are you trying to figure out?
Well, Bill, lead contractors explained to us and delivered us documents showing that they warned the administration that there were serious problems, that they weren't ready, and those warnings were obviously ignored. What we haven't received, and have asked for, Senator Alexander and myself, for approximately a month, is the internal documents showing how they handled those warnings. And as you heard earlier, just before this, former Senator, now Vice President Biden said, well, he didn't know, and he's not a geek. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to ask the question, is the rocket going to get off the pad? And in this case, the administration was warned it would not launch, and they launched it anyway.
Okay, now if you get the subpoenas to go through, what do you think it tells you?
Well, what we want to know is where the wheels came off this particular entire program. Obviously, the website being first, but only the tip of the iceberg. And the important thing I think that you have to understand is they were warned it wouldn't work. They're also undoubtedly warned about other things that wouldn't work. But in this case, they didn't heed the warnings. And if they didn't tell the vice president and they didn't tell the president, the question is, who did they tell and who made the decision not to inform the administration, to go forward, not to accept a short delay that was offered repeatedly by House Republicans to get it right? More importantly, to our committee, are we going to test?
Let me stop right there. If they knew that, why would they go forward? I mean, this is the biggest thing they've done in 5.5 years. I mean, what makes sense?
Well, this is the president's signature legislation. And if he hasn't created a culture that says, bring me the bad news, not just the good news, that may be the reason they decided to go forward, is nobody was willing to tell the president that there was a serious problem in his signature legislation. But that's still a management failure for Secretary Sebelius and everyone that works for her. You've got to be willing to tell your boss, and your boss has to create an environment in which you don't just take the applause and the accolades for what works, but you actually look at what isn't working. And in this case, there are serious problems in the Affordable Care Act that also include people losing health care that were promised they could keep it, and a myriad of other cost increases. And we want to make sure that we have an honest report to the president and an honest report to Congress.
You just used the phrase management failure. And there's this company a lot of folks are going to learn a lot about. It's called QSSI. That's the acronym for this company. Okay. Before we go on with that, you mentioned the vice president also. This is what he told CNN about the rollout.
We had the president, to his credit, almost 7 weeks out, saying, are we ready? And to be told by the pros, yeah, this looks like it's all ready to go, all in line. And neither he and I are technology geeks, and we assumed that it was up and ready to run.
No, he said neither he nor I are technology geeks. This is a president now that fought to keep control of his own BlackBerry when he was sworn into office. Now, do you know today whether or not Joe Biden or the president called someone into their office and said, fire this thing up and show me how it works? Did that happen?
As far as we know, there were no live tests done or demonstrations for the president. And the demonstrations that were done showed failure. Now, perhaps 7 weeks out when he asked, somebody said, yes, sir, 3 bags full. However, 3 weeks out, it was very clear that written and oral communications were occurring from lead vendors, CGI in this case, saying we're not ready, we need more testing. And Bill, remember the important thing. It's not just that you don't get through to the website, it's that the security questions about your confidential information are also at risk for lack of testing.
QSSI? What is that?
Well, QSSI is a division of United Health. They've been given a large lead contract, and in fact, they're not cooperating. We had to subpoena their documents too.
Are they the ones that are running the website right now? Are they the ones responsible for the repairs?
They are. They're the lead agency working and lead contractor, and they went silent almost immediately. Out of 11 lead contractors we asked questions to, plus high-tech companies, all were cooperating except this particular company.
I gotcha. Okay, so then
they wouldn't even answer questions about certain executives that work for them.
One final question: when will you get the answer to the subpoenas you're after here?
We expect to have compliance within just a few days. We've made it clear to the administration that this is a priority. We can't wait till after November 30th to see whether this works or not, because Americans are being disenfranchised every day. Health care is not getting better. It's getting worse.
Sir, thank you for your time. Darrell Issa from The Hill today. We'll speak again.